update. I, 30 female, cheated on my husband, 27 male, and now I suspect he's seeing another woman. Original post. I know I did something awful and disgusting, and when I couldn't take the guilt anymore, I cut off my affair partner and confessed everything to my husband. He got more upset and depressed than angry, and I begged for him to not divorce me. I proposed counseling, therapy, even allowing him to sleep with other women, but he wasn't interested. He said he wanted to try to work us out, and I jumped in being the best wife a man can ask for. I cook his favorite dishes, leave him loving notes, and bought new lingerie to entice him. His reactions are lukewarm at best. He smiles and thanks me, but not once he has said he loves me since I have confessed. He barely initiates anything, and I basically have to push myself on him, not that he complains. Sometimes we talk about this, but I think I still lost the man I love. His behavior with me feels very artificial and nothing changes his facade. I can be playful, I can be sad, I can get angry, and I can get seductive. But his reaction is always the stupid smile and polite words. He was so emotional and sincere before all of this happened. I want him to let out his true emotions with me, even if he hates me. I still love him so much. What can I do to fix this? Now for the top advice before reading the updates. There's nothing you can do to fix this. You most likely ruined your marriage irreparably. Good job. Leave that man alone. You said you've tried everything, but that's not true. You haven't tried being patient. Don't pressure him into being intimate with you to assuage your own guilt. That's not going to help him heal from the hurt you caused. You had an affair. The wound that inflicted runs deeply, and it will not heal overnight. If you want your marriage to work, you have to resign yourself to the fact that it could take years to repair the damage you've caused, and things may never be exactly as they were before. Give him time, and when he's ready, let him come to you and tell you what he needs from you to make this work. Don't try to push it or put pressure on him. If anything, that will just push him further away. The things you've been doing so far haven't been focused on helping him heal. They've been focused on helping you feel less guilty. Being selfish is what got you into this mess in the first place. You're just going to have to let yourself feel awful for a while. And if you can't do that, you may as well just leave him. Exactly this. Her being a perfect wife sounds like a pathetic excuse to skirt around a problem and make her feel she's trying and showing she loves him just to make her feel less guilty. She truly hasn't accepted accountability and isn't trying to figure out why she's strayed. Otherwise, what's to say she does it again further down the line? Her list of things to show she loves him, she doesn't understand that means nothing to her husband, as she still cheated on him for months. If she's focused on him getting better, she'd ask him what he wants, rather than do stuff she thinks will help. She's love-bombing him, which is a manipulative tactic to make him stay. She's scared of him leaving, rather than ashamed of what she's done to him in their marriage. She deserves to feel crap for a while. She doesn't even seem to comprehend that however she feels, he feels it 100,000 times more intensely, as he is the one who got cheated on. You killed the joyful, sincere, emotional man. Do you understand? That man is dead. Gone. I felt it myself. Betrayed by the woman that I thought was my actual soulmate. Yeah, that's how fast it dies. I tried for about a year, but I could never find that man again. And couldn't forgive her. He'd be a true saint if he were able. No, I don't want to believe this. He's still in there somewhere. Yes, for someone other than you. Now for the first update. He knows I cheated. We didn't separate and I begged him to not divorce and let me fix this. He agreed, but his behavior since my confession has basically been one of indifference. Like I wrote in my last post, I do my best to be the best wife he could ask for. I cook his favorite foods, get him gifts, screw his brains out every night. He just smiles and thanks me. He acts kind and never yells at me, but I feel his icy indifference under that mask of courtesy. 2 weeks ago, he started coming home late. Very late. And when he does, he just goes to bed. I asked him what's going on, and he told me in the kindest way possible that it's not my business. I call him when he stays out and he picked up only once. I heard a woman laughing in the background. I am starting to think he is cheating back on me. It freaking hurts. If he told me, at least I would do my best to stomach it. I deserve this after all. But he won't tell me. He just shuts me out. A common friend told me she spotted him in a car with a woman she didn't recognize, and this felt like a stab in the heart. She said she couldn't describe her exactly because she wore big sunglasses, but she recognized my husband because of his particular taste in neckties. They were talking, but my friend said that from their position, it looked like they were holding their hands or one of them was touching the other's lap. I don't know what to do. If he is having an affair, I deserve it, but I need to know. The uncertainty is killing me. Should I confront him? Should I try to find out more? I don't know how much more I can take of this. I wish he would at least communicate with me. Just ask him. You hurt him, and now he's hurting you. I don't believe your marriage is salvageable at this point if he's cheating to get back at you. He won't talk to me. He's dissociating from you, probably seeing someone else, but regardless, it's over. Sounds like you've been reduced to roommate, yes? Not even a roommate. Someone said I've been reduced to a bagmaid. Oh no, if it isn't the consequences of your own actions. Your marriage is over. Move on. What do you expect from him? To talk to me, even just to insult or berate me. At least we would be communicating. He speaks only in one-word sentences with me. Sometimes he won't even do that. Just point at something like a bottle of water to ask me to pass it to him. Get an uncontested divorce. Move on. Lessons learned. Life is too short for all that BS. Or just open the marriage and find a boyfriend. Eventually the marriage will dissolve naturally. Why do you have to be so mean? I know I am an idiot already. Why do you have to be so mean? Cheating on your husband and breaking up your marriage isn't a nice thing to do. Can't take all the criticism? Well, maybe you shouldn't have slept with another guy. Sorry, your client for months. Leave your ex-husband alone and stop calling what he's doing cheating. He isn't cheating. You told him he could sleep with other women. And guess what? He is. Don't like it? Should have kept your pants on. Leave him alone and stop forcing him to give you an answer. And yeah, you are a bangmaid. Sucks to suck. Now for the last update. He left me, and he was cheating on me. I did like you guys said and begged him to talk to me. He didn't want to, but I cried and yelled so much I puked all over. He got softer with me. He helped me clean up and we talked. I asked him if he was cheating on me and he said he was talking with someone but didn't do anything with her. I asked if she was the woman my friend saw him with. He thought on it a little but said no. It was another woman whom he met a month ago in his office. I asked him how could he and said I gave him permission. And he didn't do anything besides unloading his problems and our situation with her. But he played it like he was having a full affair, so I could feel what he felt. Especially because, according to him, I neglected him and made it obvious I was cheating on him. He said he was suffering and I was almost rubbing it in his face. I told him I wasn't doing it on purpose. And he said that makes it even worse because I didn't care at all. He said that everything I did after confessing meant nothing and just made him think I am selfish, self-centered, and lack any sort of self-respect. I asked him if we could work on myself and our marriage, but he said we can have counseling to sort ourselves out, but the marriage is over. He said he wishes no ill on me and decided to cut his charade because he could no longer bear see the woman he once loved suffer like that. But he said I am no longer that woman. I started sobbing again and he held me, but he kept saying no when I asked him that we work this out. I asked him what he was going to do, and he's moving out. He already found a new place. I asked him if he was going to live with that woman, and he said he won't, but she was close enough. I asked him how he could pick a total stranger he met a month ago over his wife of 5 years, and he said his wife of 5 years no longer exists. He has to pick between two strangers, and that woman made a much better impression on him. I told him he was a fool, and he could not know this woman will probably use and dump him. He got harsh and said she's better than me for sure. He said he won't say to our families our marriage ended because I cheated, but because we grew apart, and that he will leave the house to me as long as I make the divorce smooth. But if I try to take him to the cleaners, drag it out, or cause any problem, he will tell everyone what I did and destroy me and my reputation. This happened yesterday and he has already packed up almost everything. I can't stop crying and I can't believe this is happening. This is horrible and unfair. He said his wife of 5 years no longer exists. He has to pick between two strangers, and that woman made a much better impression on him. Damn, that's hell of a line. Husbands had time to mull over some good ones. Socrates said, by all means marry. If you get a good wife, you'll be happy. If you get a bad one, you'll become a philosopher. Seems that husband has had time to mull and become quite a philosopher. The husband wanted her to feel what he felt, but had too much respect for her or himself to actually cheat. I respect that, but must be tough when you're emotionally cut up. And then she wanted to drag him down, not realizing how she made him feel down during it all. People that ugly on the inside are convinced that everyone is. That's how they delude themselves into believing that it's okay for them to treat others like trash. If everyone's evil, no one is, themselves included. This reminds me of so many other posts from cake eaters. Will have their own affair, but oh no, my significant other is cheating on me? How dare they? In this case, she also did basically give him permission. And also, he clearly stopped caring for her from the moment she confessed. It was so clear. There was a post about a wife who wanted an open marriage, and for 2 years she got her way, while her husband worked more hours in order to pay everything off. And then he gets a girlfriend/lover, and the wife demands that he buys a bigger house and newer car, and gets shocked by divorce papers. Last story. Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my girlfriend after learning about her credit card debt? I, 29 male, recently broke up with my girlfriend Lisa, 28 female, after dating for a year. My friends think I'm a huge a-hole to break up with someone over money, but I feel that I did the right thing. One of my friends suggested me to post here, so that I can see I am making the biggest mistake of my life. For context, I have a comfortable job now, and financially in a great place. I grew up poor and had to scrape through most of my college and scholarships. Luckily, I found good mentors in college and was able to finish my PhD in a very lucrative field. I know what it's like to have nothing, and I'm very frugal with my resources. I met Lisa a year ago on a dating app. Lisa is beautiful, smart, and very charming. Our relationship has been great so far, and we have never had any real fights or differences. She also has great taste, which I lack, and helped me with my wardrobe and making my apartment so homely. Her lease was supposed to be up in a few months, and I asked her to move in with me. She was incredibly happy and agreed to it. However, we decided to discuss finances and other important things before we take the next step. 2 weeks ago, we sat down, and I made an Excel sheet to decide how we are planning to pay for stuff. I knew I make significantly more than her, and I offered to pay proportionally, which she happily agreed to. For that purpose, I asked her how much she makes, and it was lower than I would have anticipated based on her lifestyle. I asked her how she affords all the designer bags and going to fancy vacations on that salary. She looked embarrassed and told me that she has around 20K credit card debt. I knew about her student loans, but that did not bother me. However, I realized she spends way more than she can afford and had no real answers on how she plans to pay back the credit card's balance. She told me that moving in together would help towards paying off the debt, as her monthly living expenses will go down significantly, and she can pay that towards the debt. She told me she would be debt-free within a year if we moved in. However, she also told me she could not be on the lease as she has poor credit history. All that led me to rethink our whole relationship. I was looking forward to a long-term relationship and also marrying her one day. However, based on what I have seen so far, she is very irresponsible with money. I have trauma from childhood where my father would spend money on gambling and on fancy items to impress his friends that we could not afford, and that meant we barely were scraping by. My mother kept the house together and made sure we had food on the table. I cannot be with a person who is so irresponsible with money and suffers like my mother did. I communicated that to Lisa and she was upset with me. She told me that she is not asking for handouts and she will take care of her debt. She told me that she made some dumb decisions years ago and is just caught in a bad loop with credit cards. She also said that she is willing to learn from me, as her parents never taught her about how to handle money. She pointed out things I learned from her that I lacked. She asked me to give her time, but I just don't think I can play the same role as my mother. We talked about it for a while, and I told her we cannot move in together until she takes care of the debt. She said she cannot afford to live on her own and take care of it. Finally, we broke up over that. She still wants to get back together, but I told her I need time to think. My friends love Lisa and feel that she's a perfect partner for me. They think she has made me into a better person, and I'm stupid to throw away a perfectly good relationship over something that can be fixed. I just don't think I trust her to change, and I know that eventually I will end up supporting her lifestyle if we get married, since money would not be an issue at that point for her. Am I the a-hole to break up over this, and am I throwing away a perfectly good relationship over money? Now for the comments. Here's the issue with her plan. It does not involve her forming a budget where she has a surplus. It does not involve her making sacrifices for her financial future. I would want to see the following from her. 1. A budget where she's in surplus. 2. Tracking her expenses and spending over the next 3 months to see whether she can actually stick to a budget where she's in surplus and paying down her bills. If you need to walk her through this, then help her do so. But do not move in with her to save money before she has developed the skills to manage her income by herself. You are quite right that after you marry her, problems will go away, and you will be responsible for her debts, and she'll feel enabled to spend and make more debt because you will make the problems go away. This is a recipe for hardship in your marriage. I would do 1 and 2 and go from there. If she balks at trying this because it's harder than just moving in, just walk away. Not the a-hole. Your concerns are reasonable. Neither of us brought debt into our marriage, but due to some unforeseen circumstances, we ended up about $50,000 in debt. It took me a little over 2 years to pay that off. I agree, not the a-hole. She seems to think her spending problems will magically go away when her living expenses go down. But realistically, she'll just start spending more. Lol. I can testify that they don't change their spending habits. They will just operate under the sense it's not your income, it's our income. My ex-husband and I were in the same situation, but I was blinded that he would actually become a responsible adult. Boy, was I wrong. Don't make my mistake, OP. I've recovered, but it took me a year to get out from under the hole that was made. I made the same mistake, and the initial debt he told me about turned out to be the tip of the iceberg. My moving in was meant to help tackle that, but I eventually found out about 3 times more debt. We borrowed money from family, which I effectively paid back, and even then he went back to spending and accruing more debt. I wish I'd taken a far harder line rather than trusting him to be sensible. I even found a credit card he'd somehow managed to take out in my name. I was very lucky to get out of the marriage more or less unscathed financially. OP, your partner may be useless financially and never figured out how to budget, or there may be something underlying driving the spending that needs unpicking. I wouldn't blame you for making this a deal breaker though. It would be for me. Level of income, not necessarily. Inability to manage money? Yes.